Welcome everyone, join us today as we pay tribute to the legendary bassist Jimmy Bain. From his early days with Rainbow to his iconic performances with Dio, his powerful rhythms and unforgettable contributions helped shape the sound of rock and heavy metal. So let's dive in. Jimmy Bain, born James Stuart Bain on the 19th of December 1947 in Newtonmore, Highland, Scotland. Jimmy's passion for music emerged from an early age. His fascination with rhythm and melody set him on a path that profoundly influenced rock and metal. Starting with the guitar at age 7, inspired by his father's musical interests, he eventually found his true calling with the bass guitar as a teenager. By 15, Jimmy had already mastered the bass, showcasing a natural talent that distinguished him from his contemporaries. His musical interests also extended to keyboards, where he quickly achieved proficiency, further solidifying his versatile musicianship. As a teenager, Jimmy played in several local amateur bands. His parents and younger brothers moved to Vancouver, Canada, while Jimmy stayed behind. One of his most influential moments came when he saw Jimi Hendrix perform live in Stockholm, although his next band was more influenced by the R&B heavy mod scene of the time. In the early 1970s, Jimmy played in the groups Street Noise and Choker and briefly joined his family in Vancouver. However, his career truly took off in London in 1975. The previous year, Jimmy had declined an offer to join the Babies, a London rock group that later achieved success in America, opting instead to play bass with the short-lived band Harlot. Ironically, it was Harlot's lack of success that led to Jimmy's most important audition, setting the stage for his significant breakthrough. In 1975, Rainbow's debut album featured Ritchie Blackmore using Dio's band Elf as his backing musicians. After its release, Blackmore and Dio decided to hire more skilled players for their next project. Jimmy learned he was being considered as the new bassist but was disheartened when Blackmore, Dio, and Rainbow's management attended a disastrous Harlot gig at the Marquee Club. Despite his band's poor performance and the drummer's apparent drunkenness, Jimmy apologized after the show, only to be reassured and told the rest of the band made him look good. Jimmy secured the gig, but it wasn't destined to last long. One of his first responsibilities with Rainbow was to assist Blackmore and Dio in casting the band's other members. He played a key role in auditioning, helping to recruit the iconic drummer Cozy Powell among others. The new lineup began their first world tour in Montreal on November 10, 1975. By early 1976, they recorded the album Rising at Musicland, which reached number 11 on the UK chart and is now considered an early heavy metal classic. However, tensions arose between Jimmy and Blackmore, leading to Jimmy's removal from the band before Rainbow's next album and their major commercial success in the early 1980s, with Blackmore subsequently deciding that Bain was substandard. Despite this, Jimmy did play on the 1977 live album On Stage, which reached number 7 in the UK. In 1978, Jimmy formed band Wild Horses, taking on roles as lead vocalist, songwriter, and bassist. The band also featured ex-Thin Lizzy guitarist Brian Robertson, drummer Clive Edwards of Pat Travers and Uli John Roth's Electric Sun, and guitarist Neil Carter, who would later join UFO and Gary Moore. Wild Horses released 2 albums on EMI in Europe, Wild Horses in 1980, and Stand Your Ground in 1981. John Lockton, formerly of the Next Band, replaced Carter for the latter album. By June 1981, Robertson and Edwards left the band, with Robertson joining Motorhead the following year and Edwards joining former Whitesnake guitarist Bernie Marsden's SOS. Jimmy regrouped Wild Horses as a 5-piece with ex-Lautrec members Reuben Archer on vocals, and Lawrence Archer on guitar, and the Next Band's Frank Noon on drums, but they disbanded shortly after. He then collaborated with Roger Chapman, Roy Harper, Gary Moore, and Kate Bush on her 1982 album The Dreaming. Jimmy co-wrote with his close friend Phil Lynott for Lynott's 2 solo albums, playing keyboards on tour with Lynott's band. Their song, Old Town, was re-recorded by The Cause in 1999 and became a global hit. In 1984, Jimmy was secretly brought in to play bass on the Scorpions' album Love at First Sting. Although rhythm guitarist Rudolf Schenker wanted Jimmy to join the band full-time, their management preferred to keep the lineup German, so Francis Buchholz was brought back and Jimmy's bass tracks were reportedly deleted. In late 1982, Jimmy reunited with ex-Rainbow vocalist Ronnie James Dio to form the band Dio. As a key member, Jimmy co-wrote hit tracks like Rainbow in the Dark and Holy Diver for their 1983 debut album Holy Diver. He also contributed to several songs on Dio's subsequent albums, including The Last in Line in 1984, Sacred Heart in 1985, Intermission in 1986, Dream Evil in 1987, and later on, Killing the Dragon in 2002. In the mid-1980s, Jimmy founded Here in aid to rally the rock community in the fight against world hunger. He co-wrote Stars with Vivian Campbell and Ronnie James Dio, which was the heavy rock equivalent of We Are the World. Proceeds from the song supported famine relief, and Jimmy donated his share to his favorite charity, Children of the Night. In autumn 1989, Jimmy formed the band World War III with vocalist Mandy Lyon. After their 1990 self-titled debut album, the band dissolved. Jimmy then started a solo project called The Key, featuring a more melodic and commercial sound, with guitarist Tracy G from Dio and World War III. Jimmy returned to Dio for the albums Magica in 2000 and Killing the Dragon in 2002. In 2005, Jimmy teamed up with former Black Sabbath and Dio drummer Vinny Appice for two projects, The Hollywood All-Stars and Three-Legged Dog. The Hollywood All-Stars played live shows featuring hits from its members, including Quiet Riot's Carlos Cavazo, while Three-Legged Dog released an album of original material. Jimmy later expressed regret over Appice's decision to leave both projects to tour with Ronnie James Dio in the Black Sabbath offshoot, Heaven and Hell. Jimmy toured with Hollywood All-Stars, a supergroup of 1980s metal stars, including former members of Jufria, Quiet Riot, and Lynch Mob. In 2013, he formed Last in Line with Viv Campbell, Vinny Appice, Claude Schnell, and Andrew Freeman. This lineup, excluding Freeman, were the original songwriters and performers on the early Dio albums, and aimed to perform those classic songs live. During the recording of their album Heavy Crown, Jimmy was in court-mandated rehabilitation and had to adhere to a daily curfew, returning before 10 p.m. Personally, in 1979, Jimmy Bain married Lady Sophia Crichton Stewart, daughter of John Crichton Stewart, the 6th Marquess of Bute. The couple had a daughter, Samantha Ella Bain, born in 1981, who was the inspiration for the song, Samantha, by Phil Lynott and John Sykes. Before he passed, Jimmy was in a relationship with model Julie Wilson. Sadly, on January 23, 2016, Jimmy Bain passed away in his cabin on Def Leppard's Hysteria on the High Seas cruise. He was scheduled to perform with his band, Last in Line, the next day. The performance was cancelled, and it was later revealed that Jimmy had been battling pneumonia. The cause of death was later confirmed as lung cancer, which had gone undiagnosed as Jimmy was only aware of his pneumonia. He is buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Hollywood Hills, near his former bandmate Ronnie James Dio. And there you have it. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life and legacy of Jimmy Bain. From his early days with Rainbow to his iconic performances with Dio and Last in Line, his powerful bass lines and contributions to rock and metal will always be remembered. Though he left us too soon, his music continues to inspire and resonate with fans around the world. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos just like this. Take care and bye for now.